Good morning. Forgot to shout out to my friend Charlie yesterday. He crossed over another birthday, which is always good. So thinking about you today, my friend. My friend Joe is one who's taught me a very basic thing in life. I am naturally stiff and don't hug very well. And my friend Joe says, bring it in. And he's taught me to be a better hugger, if that makes sense. It's a crazy idea. Some of us are more awkward with a cordial hug, and others are more natural. I'm one of those awkward huggers, but I'm getting over it. Give me another 20 years, and I might be there. I like to, like right now, Mike Zastrow, I like to just give him a big man hug. But anyway, today when I was thinking about hanging out with you guys, I came across these two words that are all over the Bible. They're everywhere. And those two words are one another. Have you seen those words? One another. And I didn't know exactly what those two words meant, so I looked them up with my friend Merriam-Webster, and one another means to return in kind or a reciprocal action. And so I had to look up reciprocate to see what that meant. But that's the whole idea, that we respond to one another as though we are responding even to God. And so when you see the words one another, it's assumed that you are treating the other the same way that you want to be treated, kind of the golden rule idea. So one another is a big word in the apostles' writings. And when we were looking at Acts a few weeks ago, we were talking about what did the early church really look like versus what it looks like today. In the early church, they shared everything with one another. They sold their houses, they sold their property, they laid it all at the apostles' feet so the apostles could distribute it to those who were in need. And that's kind of an awkward thing because in America we're taught to kind of grab our stuff and hold on to it. And that's not what the Bible teaches us. The Bible has this thing called the church, and that isn't the people that show up in a building on Sunday. That's the people that are united by His Spirit. And that church is an invisible thing that is, we follow the head, which is Christ, is the head of the church. And so this invisible church is this interweaving of spirits and souls that are united by Jesus Christ. And so when you read what He says uh, through the apostles about the different people in the church, He says all kinds of things about one another. I'll just read through these real quickly this morning and let you ponder it. Maybe you can go find out for one another what's out there. But here's some of the ones I saw out there. In Romans 12:10, it says they were devoted to one another in brotherly love, and they gave preference to one another. They're not giving preference to those who don't follow Jesus. They're giving preference to one another. Um, they encourage one another and build one another up. That's in 1 Thessalonians 5:11. They comfort one another. That's 1 Thessalonians 4:18. They're hospitable to one another. That's 1 Peter 4:9. They love one another with tolerance. That's Ephesians 4:2, if I wrote that down right there. Tolerance is a big deal. I'm sure none of you guys have anybody that you have a compulsion to love, but it takes some toleration to do that. They seek good for one another. 1 Thessalonians 5:15. They accept one another. Romans 15:7. In First Corinthians, that group of believers was a train wreck. If you read about it, it's some bizarre stuff was going there, and they weren't even waiting for one another to eat when they were eating. And so, 1 Corinthians 11:33 says they wait for one another to plow their pie hole full of food. Um, Galatians 6:2, this is a big deal. They bear one another's burdens. You know anybody that's struggling that's a follower? We bear it, we pick it up, and we help and encourage them. And Ephesians 4 something, I can't read my writing. It says we're kind and tender-hearted to one another. And then Philippians 2:3 says we regard one another as more important. And that whole idea of a reciprocal relationship, that is, if I regard you as more important and I trust the Spirit in you, I know you're going to regard me as more important. So you're going to consider my needs and my concerns. So That's one another. It's kind of a wild idea to think about one another, but I think what you'll learn as you think about one another is that as you think about one another, your problems will do this. They will get smaller and smaller and smaller because one another can take care of each other, and our problems get smaller as we look to the Lord and look to others. So, this beautiful day, I hope you can look out for one another. Maybe drop somebody a kind note, send somebody some flowers, pray for somebody today, but look out for one another and have a great day today.